Hey, my name is Law. I'm a Radiant Valiant player for the past year, and today I was walking through Masters London and I was thinking, hey, this Swiss stage has been really fun. I'm going to create a video on all my favorite players, what's happened during the Swiss stage at this event, and other stats, other important highlights like who might win, who might lose. And I just thought it'd be fun to make a video like this, because Masters London has already given us some incredible matches, obviously, some unexpected results, and a few teams have completely bombed out and changed the way that people view them. So today I want to take a look at everything that's happened during the Swiss stage, importantly because playoffs hasn't started yet as of this recording. And we're going to talk about the biggest surprises, some of the most impressive players I've noticed, teams that have exceeded their expectations, and some who have dropped them. And this isn't just going to be a recount of the scores. I'm going to be breaking down what I saw from a competitor's perspective, as well as performances from individual players. And so whether you've watched every match, or you're trying to catch up, or you're dead new, let's just take a look at everything that's happened in the Swiss stage and break it down one by one, team by team. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? I'm seeing a Kiko plus 31. Kiko is the best player at this event so far. I mean, oh my god. Plus 31, and he almost has a 2 rating. 2 rating? That's crazy. 7-1, which is kind of absurd, but Happy Away wasn't that far off at 6-1. He also had a pretty great series. But the real star of the show is Kiko this match. I mean, 60-29. God damn. He stepped into his home country and played amazing. Anyway, this is the first match. This is G-Light Gaming versus NRG. This is the opening match of Masters London. I really like this match. I'm going to talk on Lotus more than I will talk on Pearl, but basically Pearl was in NRG's favor, 13-6. They played a really good map. They leaned into a more of a single duelist comp. They did this at Master Santiago as well, where they only ran one duelist, which was Mata. And I think it's fine, you know. If that's how Ethan likes to call, then Ethan will favor the higher utility count more than they will than the current double duelist meta. And honestly, Kiko played fine on the Vice, bro. I mean, he plus 12, insane performance, especially for a Sentinel. And yeah, I was really impressed by Energy on this map. They played really well. Scuba opened up with a pretty great opening 1v2 pistol. And XLG, they're running the double duelist XLG, which is the current meta as well. So obviously I'm not that opposed to it, but it wasn't really much from the side of XLG that I saw from this map, besides from a couple certain plays outstanding, but otherwise they had a pretty shoddy attacking side. And that's it for my Pearl analysis. And then on to Lotus. 11-13, this was a banger map, honestly. I was really impressed by this map. XLG opened up with a quick 6 first rounds, which against Energy is quite the feat. They're a young team, obviously. We saw them in Toronto of last year, had a pretty good performance. Everyone was talking about Rogard in this case, but what I really want to talk about is the composition, or the less boring one, I would say, is Energy's comp. You know, you have the Viper, you have the Vice there as well, and the Omen. But what I really want to talk about is XLG's comp, which is the triple Senti. I was like fascinated. This was really cool. They had a lot of different set plays with the Cypher, as well as the deadlock nets and the deadlock traps. And I think Roger actually played the Sage to a very high level. He was getting off like 4 reses on a side or something, or I saw him get at least 3, which as a number is like super high in terms of like available reses, but he was getting a lot of value in a lot of these rounds. And the stat line might not show it, you know, he's -2, but I think he played the stage really well, and is what is a part of why this map was so close. Obviously, to the latter rounds, they lost 8 rounds in a row, which is kind of rough, honestly. You are playing the former champs, minus Sam, of course, but I love the stuff that XLG was doing. I thought this was a really, really fun match to watch, and I'm excited to see what they do in playoffs. I was not too impressed with this one. I wanted to talk about one certain thing that Full Sense were doing, in particular, that they were still implementing the Neon post changes, which obviously I've tried it out myself. I've played Neon in a couple of death matches. Obviously that's not the same as playing it in professional play, but the nerfs are quite significant. Without the jumping, the Neon loses the value of its like bunny hopping, esque like jumping around, oh shoot me, not the guy who's falling like right behind me, sort of thing. But Jippoi's is still implementing it in this case, and honestly, it did not go out well. Obviously, minus 20 in that regard. Not the greatest of performances from him, but I did not like what Full Sense was doing in these two maps. Obviously, they only had 3 rounds on Fracture, and they only had 7 on Haven. What I wanted to talk about more is the foot masterclass that was this event. Obviously, I haven't watched much EMEA games come up to this event, but there's 2 players that, in my mind, stood out a lot. Number 1, obviously, the guy on the top, Sop. This guy was not on my radar, but I was watching some of the stuff he was doing on Haven and some of the stuff he was doing on Fracture as well. Dude, this kid is insane. I think Foot is a big contender to win this event. I think Foot are an insane team right now. Obviously, because they recently just beat NRG, which I'll go over later, but I am really, really impressed with the sides of Foot. I thought Full Sense was going to win this round. I put it Full Sense just because, you know, Primi Glaze, Primi 40 bomb, Primi does everything, kills everyone. I was super impressed by what they were doing, and not so impressed with what Full Sense was doing. I really wasn't surprised at, or like, not surprised per se, but I wasn't impressed at all. I was actually very disappointed because it really just was the Premi show. Obviously you can see he was really trying on the Phoenix here, even though I don't think the Phoenix is even his best role, but this was kind of a blowout, if I'm gonna be honest. It didn't even get to 10 rounds. They got 10 rounds in total, but Foot really dominated this entire game. You know, Zeus was someone who I was watching last year as well, and it's like, wow, this guy could really be something this next year. Obviously, I haven't seen much for him yet. Obviously, a Planet 18 score yet, but not many like highlight reels, obviously, but that really isn't really what matters. Very good stat line, plus 19. He's doing a lot for this team as well, but I've seen a lot from Sop this event, and I can't wait to see more, honestly. And honestly, Sociable, Crossly, Yedajay, these guys are all shooters, man. Especially Yedajay. This guy can shoot, bro. And I've been liking the Sociable calling as well. I think this is very good showing for Foot, and it's raised by Foot stakes from like a here all the way up here. And I'm excited for what they have next. This game was kind of entertaining. Something I thought kind of weird was how they utilized the Neon that well after the nerfs. Untitled actually did it to a pretty high amount, you know, 13-9. It's not terrible, and it's not like great or anything, but it's a good performance, you know. He's not going negative, and he played actually fairly decent. And then Crystal, on the other hand, he had a belter of a game. He had 21 and 10. Insane performance from him. Actually, some later games in this tournament, he actually played a lot better than this as well. So he's sort of like that underrated gem. If I had to pick him in my like Valorant Fantasy League, I would totally draft this guy for what he's worth. Because he's been putting up some sneaky numbers in there, bro. I'm not gonna lie. From the side of level on this map, they're running a really aggressive meta comp. Usually Neon subs off the chamber for maybe like a Vice Killjoy type beat, but he likes the Neon on this map, and honestly, if you're a shooter, you can play Chamber on any map to sub for a Senti if you're good enough. And the Op is still such an impressive weapon, especially with his TP, and the TPs on this map are actually kind of decent for the Chamber, which is probably why he had a decent amount of value on this map. But for me, this is probably just shakiness from Lev in the first map, because obviously they went on to win this series, but for now, it's a 4-13. This was a great map from G and a great opener. And on a Fracture, this was a banger. This map was a banger. Obviously, this was really back and forth. So we got to see a lot from both teams. What I was surprised about was the Neon on the Brimstone here. We saw this at Champs 2023, where Demon 1 was actually going on to the Brimstone, and that legendary clip on Fracture as well. So it's not something totally out of the water for duelist players to be playing that Brimstone here, but nonetheless, I was kind of surprised for him to be playing it here. I'm not sure if he's been playing it in Americas, because I haven't been watching Lev too much. besides for their entrance into this tournament. But this was a great map. You know, Sato, he had a really good map on Waylay. I think the Waylay provides a lot of value here, as you can see by both sides running the Waylay, Patman on it and Sato on it. Both sides are running the double Lewis. Again, a Neon is in play here, which I was still surprised by. And it was at this point in the tournament where it's like, wow, maybe Neon isn't so bad, because teams are running it pretty often now. And again, he didn't do that bad, you know, -2. It's like, okay, Spike did a decent job on the Neon, but I still don't see its value. I think the main value of the Neon, in my opinion, was the fact that you could run bunny jump all over the map for the next guy that's coming right behind you. And without jumping, you're basically just like a walking duck ready to be shot. It was kind of hard to decipher the real true meaning of what Lev wanted to find with this Neon, as well as Utan and Spike playing on this map. But I guess it's something that I would have to figure out, because I think the Jet is just the better counterpart. Anyway, this map was really cool. I feel like I've said that so many times. Lev is the youngest team at this event, so I was kind of surprised that they clinched it out at the end. At the end round, I can show a clip maybe here if I wanted to, but Udotan actually just steamrolled them, but still lost in that round, which I thought was like, wow, Udotan is the fucking GOAT. But last map, I think I had to leave for this part of the map, so I really wasn't sure what happened too much. But from what I can see from the scoreboard, Lev clinched it out 13-9. Sato's back on the Neon, or not Neon, excuse me, the Phoenix, which I think he's something really good. I said Neon because Spike is still playing the Neon here. I'm trying to think. I think the Neon might be very viable. I mean, I'm saying might like I'm the coach or anything, but I might have to go back and watch some of what Spike was doing to make the Neon very suitable. But after the Jip Boys gameplay with the Neon, I was certain that it was done for. Like, it was over. Like, -20 is like a score that is like, you can't win if you're going -20 in a series. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. Spike and Udotan in this series actually proved me wrong. Like, I think they played well. So here, Team Vitality versus Foot Esports. Vitality's a team comprised of former Fnatic players. Obviously, you have Durka on there, you have Chronicle on there, as well as Profik, Sayonara, who's in contention for Rookie of the Year player, and Yampi, who's the IGL Vitality. First thing first, I want to talk on Yampi first, because I think Yampi is one of the players on this team who I've been super interested in, just because of his performance. I mean, dude's been dropping aces left and right. He didn't drop one this series, but he's been pretty consistent, especially for a fragging IGL. In this case, you know, he was the top frag here on Pearl, going 23-9 with a 1.24 rating. And again, he's up there with the likes of Sayonara as well, just below him. And he might be on the bottom here, but like, still, it doesn't matter. He's been performing way higher than I had expectations for regarding his performances last year. When I think of Vitality, like in Valorant, obviously in CS, they're like legends in the CS. But for here on Vitality, I think of the one run that they had in Masters Bangkok, where they had a really good run with that core. That was actually before Chronicle came in. That was last year in 2025 that they last qualified to an event. But they're back now, and they have Chronicle, and they have Profik, Sayonara, Yampi, Durka. This whole team is very good, and I'm surprised to see EMEA back in form like this, because it's been, if I'm being honest, quite a while since we've seen EMEA look this dominant. Like, they look like the best region right now, after what it seems like almost a year of Pacific dominance in this game. Maybe a turn in tides, maybe, because both of these teams look phenomenal, and I'm not just singling out Vitality in this case because of their victory. Obviously, they 2-1 Foot, but this game was very close. Besides from domination from Foot on Haven, it was close on the other two maps, and this game was low-key a treat to watch. It was a lot of just like very good macro plays from both teams. What I wanted to go over, rather than the in-depth play and coordination between these two teams, I want to go over the agent compositions more because I think I wanted to point out a certain player, Chronicle. So if you look over the series, Chronicle is playing Chamber more, where as we click on his BLR profile, he likes to play the Viper, you know, the big Sentinels like Killjoy, Cypher, Vice, Viper. But he's starting to flex in some of the Chamber, and I think I really like that for him. He is known as one of the greats in this game. You know, he has 3 trophies. Like, that's just crazy. The most winningest player in Valorant, right behind Ethan, you know, in GOAT status with 2 champs trophies. But I'm glad to see him on this Chamber, and I think he's performing insane with it, since he's like a very mechanically gifted player for the longest of times, and it's great to see him rise up back to this form without the likes of Fnatic on his side, obviously since they're out of contention now. But he's not the only one I was single. I also want to talk about Sayonara. Obviously, he has even scoreline, but he is in contention for Rookie of the Year. And it's not just his mechanics, you know. He's a very like well-rounded player. He knows how to play the game, like he's been on the stage multiple times, and I think that's something that should not be looked down upon. He's had some very, very consistent performances from this series, and honestly on the last map, Prophet had a very good one as well, but more on the Sayonara side, he has been very, very good for this team, and I personally don't think we've seen his best yet. I think if they continue to go further and further in this tournament, he will put up some belter of performances. But I mean, on this team, you've got 4 straight shooters, and I say 4, sorry to single out Prophet, even though he played well in the series, but the 4 players here, Yampi, Durka, Sayonara, and Chronicle, are just great players, just from history, like past performances, obviously. But enough of the Vitality glaze. I want to get on the Foot, because as I was saying earlier in this video, Foot are a team that I have very high regards for, and I think they played well this series. Again, you have Sop going on the Chamber and Jet that I've been super impressed on. Zeus, a little underhanded, up by 2, but honestly, stats when you lose are fine, you know. He played a great game. And especially if he's flexing on all these different duelist roles, like Durka is as well. It shows that has a lot of Agent X flexibility, as well as just like consistent placing performances. But I'm a fan of this Turkish team, honestly. I am excited for what they'll do in playoffs, and I'm really enjoying Sop's Chamber as well. I really enjoyed it. Usually, duelists either pick like the more Sentinel duelist route, where they flex on the Jet and play the Chamber, and then like Sage or something, or Vito. Sop is more of just like that sort of duelist, whereas Zeus is the more flexible, you know, like Neon, Raze, Waylay sort of duelist. And it's good to have both in there. I think this team has that sort of good chemistry and coordination where they can fill all those gaps and any sort of compositional changes they might want to make. So, quite happy with this game, honestly. I feel like I've been saying I'm quite happy, like there hasn't been good games, but I'm kind of filtering out all the games that I think aren't worth talking about right now. You know, it was a good Swiss stage, I think. You know, it was nice to see Global Esports finally attend an event, you know, a team to finally represent India. And not to say that Global Esports had a bad event, I think they actually had a pretty good showing here. Except for, I won't show it here, but one of the last rounds against G-Light Gaming, they kind of tossed pretty hard and started to fumble apart on Breeze. But that might have just been from pressure from not being on the stage before, although Patman did win a trophy in Toronto. Other than that, though, I think Europe had a very good showing during the Swiss stage, obviously through Foot and Team Vitality. Although I feel like I've been too overly positive. I think Full Sense, for how they looked during their run into qualifying for this tournament, they looked like one of the best teams coming here, and yet they're at the bottom here at minus 22 round differential, which honestly is quite the disappointment. And I also think Energy is quite a big disappointment as well. I didn't harp on it enough during the video as well, but I'll go through right now. Energy's run, they lost to Leviathan, who is a team that I have high hopes for in this tournament. as one of the last remaining American teams, or not American but like America's team. I'm a big fan of all the players. They seem like a bunch of fun people. I'm also excited for XLG just because I like the team a lot. I think No Man is a very like funny guy, and I'm hoping that Raga turns up later in the year as well. I was talking about NRG and how they failed to show up to expectations, and honestly, them not qualifying is kind of shocking, and it kind of ruined my pick'ems. In the final round against Foot, this game was really, really good. Before this match even happened on the final day of Swiss, I knew that this was going to be a good game because I had high hopes on Foot before the game had even started. This team put a lot of hope that Europe could finally be back in this game. Like, this was the game that's like, okay, EMEA is back, like Europe is back, baby, ever since the Fnatic 2023 run. Like, Zeus plus 13, like Sociable, everyone's popping off. Kiko unfortunately didn't have a life gain, bit of an underperformance from Ethan as well. I really expected more from Energy, especially being the reigning champs in this scenario. They no less placed in top 3 this entire year, and a placement like this is honestly quite a disappointment from them. They might be a little behind on the meta. I think Kiko wasn't running enough double duelists, I think, and I think that he should have been swapping to more entry duelists so we have double entry duelists. For example, look at the way that Foot are running this comp. Zeus is running primarily the Raze and the Waylay, whereas Sop is running the Neon and the Jet, and sometimes flexing onto the Chamber. But having that double duelist like synergy when you're entering onto the bomb site is something that's super powerful, and I don't think Energy are used enough. Like, obviously you can do it with the Omen teleports, but it's really just not as good. It doesn't really have that big like explosive like energy to it on the site hits, which are really what's popular right now. And throwing Kiko on the Phoenix is just a Yoru replacement because Yoru was so good, but Phoenix is kind of easy to pick up. But I really think they needed more comp depth with Energy here. But less on Energy, and let's just talk more about the teams that also I didn't see much. Global Esports. Sure, it's their first time coming to an event, but they have Batman on their team, who was showing a really good performance in the past, but they did a lot better than Full Sense, what I would say, as being the best in the round differentials here. They had a pretty good showing, you know. I wasn't too bad, like, down on them, obviously, since these 4 teams up here. I still think they're a better team than G-Light Gaming. I think they didn't really do too well in the last game when they faced against them. Something must have happened on this last game on Breeze because they were just like so out of it, man. And it was just so sad to see because I really had high hopes for this team. Really, I did. Because Autumn looked really good, and Javi looked good, and Crystal was having some live performances, like I was saying in the last game, and Udatan was having really good performances. Like, I could see it. But to summarize it, since we're around hitting 20 minutes already, some teams that I would definitely look out for are the 3 up here, Team Vitality, Leviathan, and Foot Esports. I've been really honing in on how they were doing during the group stage, and also some composition appearances. Regarding the matchups here, for what to look out on, I think Foot Esports is a good contender to win against EDG. XLG will probably lose to G2. HaperX, Leviathan, and Heretics Vitality will both be pretty good games, I think. I'm sure this is a regional matchup for EMEA, but I still think EMEA is a stronger region here. If Heretics fail up to show up here, just because of stage nervousness or just getting used to the stage, Vitality could easily take this, as well as Leviathan easily beating HaperX. But Heretics and HaperX are both pretty, you know, they're not afraid. Like, they're no stranger to the big stage, the Copperbox Arena. Like, I think that these 2 games could be giga bangers, and they're definitely ones to watch out for. I won't give any big win conditions or like teams I know will win, but I know I was singing the praises of Leviathan and Vitality throughout this video. They're also standing up to HaperX and Team Heretics, who are renowned to be very, very good teams, also the #1 teams from their region. So I'm really confident in that. The only reason I was really so confident about Foot beating EDG, or I am very confident about it, is just because the individuals on this team are meshed together a lot more, just regarding comp roles and also just coordination. I think I've seen a lot from Foot, and I have them going really, really deep in this tournament. Hopefully it doesn't go back on me, but overall, I'm happy from what I've seen throughout this tournament, and It's been a really good treat to watch all these teams compete at Masters London, and it's been a really great event so far. I think I sung the praises of teams too much throughout this video without recognizing their flaws at least. But I'm hoping to make another video like this in the future. I would also like to go more in depth about these teams. I know what I was talking about today was a little more on the shallow end regarding comps and certain individuals and players. I would like to go more in depth on and focus on one team in general rather than a collective as a tournament. So that way I can start understanding how their team functions within a dynamic and the strats that they run, rather than focusing on the tournament as a whole. But it's been a really fun tournament, and I've had a lot of fun making this video. I might make a new video like that in the future, but I'll be enjoying playoffs in the meantime. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll make another one soon.